Yeah, Hugo, David's been telling us about his hairstyling product reviews. It's been incredible. Learned
Alter
a lot.
ego. Yeah. All these hairspray and keeps it
Uh,
all in place. You don't even see it. It keeps it all in place so well.
If that's what you're using for hair product, that could explain your follicle situation.
That's true. Yeah. Good point. Welcome to Power Platform Connections, where we highlight the amazing community contributors like yourself and take a look at all the amazing blogs and articles and videos that you've all been contributing over the past couple of weeks. My name is David Warner, Community Program Manager for Microsoft, and with me, my co-host.
Hey, I'm Hugo from Microsoft, and today I have the honor to introduce that platform guy, Chris Huntingford. Chris?
Hey everyone, what's up? Thank you super very much for having me. It's great to be here. I've watched a number of these, man, and I really think they're great, guys. So thank you so much. Very exciting, actually. I just have to tell you, I would not normally have a background on, but I'm currently sitting in a random Airbnb because we're moving house. So yeah, I figured I'd pick my old bar from our old place.
Awesome. Well, it looks great. I mean, and for the reference, everybody, we asked Chris to go to a neutral location for the safety of himself.
Yeah.
We just want to make sure this is, he's under Power Platform protection. So awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, guys. Yeah.
So you are a business applications MVP. Why don't you tell everyone a little bit about yourself real quick?
I currently live in the UK. I work at a company called ANS, and I'm the low code lead. But yeah, I've been an MVP. This is my second time around. First couple of years ago, probably about 5 years ago. Then I moved to Microsoft, and then I had to regain it. But my focus is primarily on Power Platform, right? So I do a lot of that, and I'm also a fast track recognized solution architect for Power Apps, which means I've done a number of interesting deployments, and yeah, it's been real good. So happy to be part of the community. And one of my big focuses right now is not just doing focusing on apps and technology, but also around the entirety of the Power Platform ecosystem and how to, instead of build one app, get organizations to build thousands of them. And that's really important. So yeah, that's what I do.
I mean, you have to be with a name like that platform guy, right? You can't just be like that part of the platform guy. It just doesn't roll off the tongue as well.
So, well, that one was taken. Previously,
yeah.
my Twitter handle was the tattooed CRM guy, and then CRM, that's all done. So,
yeah, awesome. Well, I'm sure we're going to get to that in a few minutes, but let's give everybody a little glimpse of who you are, so that when we get together in real life, people have something to talk about. So we had you fill out that form that we always ask everybody, some fun answers to the questions that you provided, one of which was around your favorite thing to eat. And now most people are very, very specific, right? But you were a little bit actually more vague, and it's kind of exciting because it's more like, it's almost more like an endeavor, right? Like you said, I'm always in search of the perfect burger. So that's awesome. I love the quest, right? It's like Burger Quest or something. But
totally.
What makes up a perfect burger in your mind?
Oh man, there's so many things I've got to tell you. So first of all, I think the best burger I've ever had is by this company called Mr. Beast, and it's in the UK in a place called Wokingham, and I found it by mistake, and literally it was like, oh man, my mouth is watering. It's so good, but it's this amazing kind of smash burger, and it's got like loads of bits and pieces. But I think the perfect burger has to have loads of stuff in it. It can't just be a beef patty with cheese. It's got to have loads of adventure involved. And yeah, man, I was a savage. And I often have arguments with some of my mates in the community about where the perfect burger lies. But yeah, I found it so far. And in South Africa, they make another burger called a clan burger, and it fits in a cake box. It's like the perfect size for me. I could smash that whole thing. It's top quality. Yeah, the perfect burger is a quest.
If you don't need to have a shower after eating your burger, it's not a good burger. Yeah.
100%, my friend. 100%. I agree with you totally.
So you said not just meat and cheese, but what if you had to make a decision? So in addition to meat and cheese, you had to pick like one or two items that had to go on. What would be those one or two items?
I'll probably pick bacon.
Good man.
But I guess bacon counts as meat. Yeah. But like an extra layer of bacon, and then definitely like a relish. So a mixture of tomato, onion, jalapeno, and like a gherkin kind of pickle mix. That would make it the best.
You're talking about bacon. I'll often order a veggie patty with bacon And you should see the people that they're like, I need to call my manager, right? I
Did
don't
we
know
do
what
that?
I'm
to
sure
do.
this is legal. Is that allowed?
But that's a bit like decaffeinated coffee, I guess.
Brown liquid disappointment. I also like, by the way, brie and pistachio on my burger.
Oh,
It
brie and
sounds
pistachio.
weird, but it's just the meatiness of the pistachio and the creaminess of the brie on a like charred burger. It's just the best
Yeah.
thing. I'm sorry if I'm drooling now.
Yeah, I could easily smash a burger right now. Honestly, I might actually get onto the Mr. Beast website and grab one after this.
Well, now it's ironic because we always find a way to loop this in, right? But Hugo used to be a chef. Shocker,
Yeah.
I know. We've never talked about that before. In case anybody doesn't know, he's probably flying across this. There he goes, right? Hugo flying across the screen. So, Hugo, as a chef, what was like the most unique request you ever got for the modification? If you serve burgers where you cooked, what was the most unique modification you got or request?
I mean, I think it's not unique for a lot of people, but my favorite was really people who will order Aussie style burgers with an egg and a beet and
Yeah.
yeah. So that's like it needs to be like runny egg. Again, it goes in the theme of having to take a shower after you had the burger. So the sourness of the beet with the kind of the meatiness of the beet and the runny egg, which gives it kind of a sauce as you're eating the burger. It's just well, I'm trying to not pour saliva on my new microphone.
It's just after lunchtime here in the Pacific,
Yeah.
so yeah, I'm feeling you there. Now, in terms of movies, very often friends fill this out and they say, too many to choose, don't know what to choose. But you were very specific, Hackers, which goes back a ways, right?
Yeah,
Like
I have Hackers
early,
tattoos.
yeah, early Angelina Jolie, right? Stuff like that. So what was it? What did you love about it? What is definitively why it is your favorite?
So I've got to tell you, Hackers was the movie that got me into tech, right? And I know this is going to sound really lame, but I love it. So I don't remember how old I was. Actually, it was 1995, so I was probably around 12 years old. And I loved the idea of these people cruising around on rollerblades using this incredibly like lame jargon. I mean, they even say in the one part the BLT drive has gone AWOL. I loved the handles. I just loved all of it. I loved the colored sunglasses, even though they served no purpose. And I just loved the idea of like breaking the rules a bit for the greater good. And ever since I watched that, I loved it. So like, it was the movie that got me into tech. I actually started learning QBasic after that because I thought, hey, I want to hack. And I even remember I had this blue pair of sunglasses like Dade Murphy from the movie. It was I've probably seen that movie over 100 times. I've got the soundtrack. I absolutely love the film.
The other thing that you said that you really love is there is a combination of things here. So like NASA, you love NASA. You said after a hard day of work, you like to relax studying planetary sciences.
Yeah.
Do tell. I've got to know.
I'm studying a degree in planetary sciences with a university called Birkbeck. So I do 3 modules a semester. So I do like 6 a year. And it's all sorts of things, everything from geophysics to astronomy, geology. It's all sorts of stuff. And it all kind of mixes together to make planetary sciences. And I have 3 lectures a week from 6 in the evening till 9 in the evening. And yeah, man, just get on board with those. I miss a lot of them because of like work and community and things, but I can always catch up. And it's just really cool to read, right? I always think that understanding like how the planet formed and what actually happened and then why we're going back to venture out into space and all of that. So yeah, it's really exciting.
I'm a Scorpio. Does that mean you're going to be able to tell me what my future lies ahead of me?
Astronomy, not astrology.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And I was
So
Scorpio
close.
too. I was Scorpio too, man. So you're gold.
So if there was a area of space that you could just go to, would it be the moon? Would it be a specific planet? Or are you just like, I just want off this planet?
No, I like this planet. But if I had the chance to visit anything, I'd go to Io, one of the moons of Jupiter. I think it's like it's a water-based planet, but it's really interesting because it's one of the closest. It's in kind of what I guess they would frame a Goldilocks zone, but it's not really habitable. But people have looked at it and they've made movies on it. And the other one I just would love to see is Neptune because it rains diamonds. Genuinely.
You mentioned hackers was your inspiration for getting into tech, right?
Yeah.
But you are also, as we kind of transition into what it is that brings us all together, you're highly involved in the community. We'll talk about in a little bit how you're going to be speaking at the upcoming Power Platform Conference in October. What inspired you to take this love of tech and code and start sharing it with others in the community?
I've always been, I guess, somebody that's wanted to engage with people and work with people. In all the jobs I've ever done, I've always had the opportunity to work with others and either be mentored or mentor, I guess. And when I got to the UK, I didn't really have that many friends because I'd moved from South Africa and like I didn't really know anyone. And I went to a couple of community events and people were just awesome. I met people like Andrew Bibby, and yeah, it was really Adam Vero, Mohammed Mustafa. It was just really interesting. And they kind of just said to me, dude, you should just be telling people more about this. And I thought, well, there's a lot of folks out there that don't have the same sort of thinking pattern as technologists do. So surely there must be a way to get other people involved without like speaking nerd. So I started writing blog posts about one of them was equating drinking beer to on-prem versus the cloud, and how drinking at your home bar might seem cheaper, but actually, you know, going to another bar is way better, and this is why, because you have the opportunity to integrate. I started doing that, and I got like a fairly decent response. I mean, I don't really know what decent would be nowadays, but like people started chatting to me and stuff, and I wanted to just tell more and more and more, like share more and more about like why it's important that you don't have to be a complete technologist to enjoy technical stuff. And yeah, that's sort of what got me into it. And then people were just really encouraging, you know, like um, chatting to loads of different people within the community and just like forming these bonds and making more and more friends. It grew. And yeah, I'm super proud to have been part of it and actually having met all these people. So yeah, that's the more I meet, the more people I meet, the more I chat to, the more I want to share and like share opinions and share ideas.
Excellent. Now, I'd love to talk about for a second about your transition from not blogging to blogging. Like there was a barrier for you to blog.
Yeah.
What was stopping you, and what got you started?
I think it's because so I did start with blogging. It was actually one of the first things I did. I still have some of my old posts, but there was a lot of imposter syndrome. I think like, why would people want to hear what I have to say? Is that important? Do people care? What if, because I don't have a degree from university or anything. I have a high school diploma basically, and yeah, there we go. And my first job was a storeman. Like I was packing shelves, so I thought that's not really going to be helpful to anyone. And then when I started learning, I thought, why are my thought patterns so weird? Like, why do I think of this stuff in such a different way? Maybe I shouldn't be thinking about it like this. And yeah, I guess one day, I can't remember what I wrote on. I think it was the beer article. I wrote that and I'm like, screw it, I'm putting it out there. Like, I don't care, whatever. LinkedIn, social media, beer article out. And I also wrote one on tattoos, why paying a small amount for a tattoo is a terrible idea for paying a large amount. And actually, that was what transitioned the whole thing. I thought, screw it, I'm coming up with a brand and I'm sticking to this. Like, this is fun. And it was through encouragement from people in the community. And they said, hey, man, this is really good. Like, you should do this more. But I think it's hard to do it on your own. And I think that if you don't have the encouragement from a wider community and got people like you guys promoting people and others, it's difficult for new starters.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that whole imposter syndrome can be crippling, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
Because people are making a big deal of what you're saying, and you're like, no, please, it's not worth the deal you're making.
Yeah.
But again, I think it's a symptom of you're always trying to stay up to date. You're always trying to learn more. And the more you learn, the more you realize that you don't know as much as you thought you did.
It's impossible to know everything, though. I say this to the guys at the company I work for. Like, I say to them, folks, you don't need to know everything. Like, just focus on what you want to know. And if you find it useful, even the smallest little thing could help people. And it's amazing. Like, honestly, it's just amazing to see like what people are posting now. Like a screenshot of something just lights things up for others.
Yeah. Well, we'll mention to folks, like, if you've helped one person, it's been worth it, right? Because they would have not received the help had you not created or written or created a video or whatever. I also love the sentiment about what you said about you don't have to do it alone, right? You've got a whole community. Hugo and I just were talking about this last week at the MVP Summit, how we've not solo presented. I don't even remember the last time I've solo presented, because it's so much better to co-present, work together with others in the community. It sets a good example of collaboration, and it just, that's what the community is all about, helping one another.
And it's less boring.
That's right.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm a big advocate of co-presenting with people. I mean, I do still submit solo sessions kind of every now and then, but it's not. It's normally if I'm like, okay, I would love to do this. I don't know who to present this with. I'm just going to submit it, and then I'll probably drag somebody with along on the day. It happens all the time. But yeah, I love co-presenting. I think it's such a good thing. Also with new presenters, like if you get somebody who's never been on stage, and you can highlight that person and say, you know, do your thing, and like I'll be hero support.
Yep.
I love that idea. I think it's really cool.
So Chris, you talked about the fact that you don't need to learn everything, and that's something that I'm a huge fan of. In fact, when people ask me about getting started in the Power Platform, I'll say, like, don't worry about learning everything. Don't try to catch up with everybody else that's been doing it for a while. Just focus on what is relevant for you right now to solve a specific problem. But I think one of the things that you've talked about in the past is how Power Platform is not just about building apps. Do you mind talking about that a little bit?
Absolutely. This is my favorite subject right now. I think a lot of the time when you look at Power Platform, it's called Power Platform, not Power App Form. It's not just about making a Canvas app. Yeah, man. I think the Canvas app movement was fine, but I think a lot of it got blown out of the water by, hey, you can make an app, but you're solving one problem with an app. I mean, think about it. When Microsoft came out with Office, and they didn't say to you, okay, you need to pay us X amount to send one email every month and create one Excel document. They gave us a toolkit, and then we built a bunch of stuff with it. So we didn't often even know what emails we were going to send or what Excel documents we were going to make. And I feel like that's a bit like Power Platform. The vision needs to change from making an app to solve one problem to enabling organizations to solve many problems with a much wider set of tools. And I think that's the key. And that comes with messaging. Yes, we should highlight hero stories and things like that, but we also need to be telling people that you're buying a toolkit and you're buying into a movement, not a technology. And that's the whole trick behind it. So I call it an ecosystem. And the reason I call it an ecosystem is because one ecosystem can contain many things, many centers of excellence, many communities of practice, many tenants, many people, many types of processes. And I feel like that's something that we should be talking to organizations about, because if we're not, we're missing a trick. It's called solving the simple problem versus solving the wicked problem. The wicked problem is, how do we re-digitize the way in which people work and take the robot out of the human, not how do we make an app. And that's why I talk about ecosystems so much, because I'm so like fixated on enabling and growing and giving people more time back. Does that make sense? Because that's a lot.
Absolutely. No, in fact, it's worth talking about. That concept extends to more than the Power Platform, right? If you think about the Microsoft 365 ecosystem, our customers are not just saying, okay, well, I'm going to use Power Apps and I'm not going to look at anything else.
Yep.
We're using Microsoft 365. Same thing with the Dynamics folks, right? There tends to be this religious wars between the Dynamics folks and the Microsoft 365 folks and the Power Platform folks. It's all part of one big ecosystem, and you use the right tools for the right solution.
And they overlap, right? They overlap. Yeah. People tend to think like, oh, I'm a only this or I'm a only that, but it's like they're best used together, right? The whole better together thing. It's true.
As long as you don't say do more with less.
That's right.
Oh yeah. No, I think the whole idea now is that the focus, you're right, it's absolutely around building out these digital ecosystems, and they're going to have lots of things and lots of multiple digital bricks that make them up, right? But again, that's still tech. It's about creating the movements and instilling the need to solve problems using technology in people, and saying to people, hey folks, like, you have a problem, you have this wide toolkit, get educated, fix the problem, and then that actually rounds you back out into community. And if you think about it, the more visibility we can give people into how easy this stuff is and how many things they can solve, the easier and more comfortable, the easier it is for them to become comfortable to do it. And that's the trick. So it rounds out back into community, and it always will.
Absolutely. All right. So Chris, you are going to be speaking at the upcoming Power Platform Conference. And as we were just talking about, it's a great opportunity to maybe speak with others. And I think you're doing just that, right? You're speaking with a first-time presenter at this conference.
Yeah, Natalie. This is hugely awesome, because we were in Talon and we were talking about, we're like, hey, we should do a session together, because we have like quite similar ideas. And I'm like, I don't really mind what we do. I mean, I'm down. I want to do something I don't really know though, so it puts me in the position to learn. But also, I think Natalie's got such a great perspective on how technology works and fits together. So cheekily, I'm learning as well. And we're going to do a session on adaptive cards. And I have a lot of like perspective on it, because I think that Canvas apps be Canvas apps. What do you need cards for? And Natalie's got a lot of really great use cases about them. So I think it's going to be, well, I'm hoping to learn, but I think it's going to be a great session. I really do. And I've got a really, really good idea of how like her presenting style works. So I think it's going to be great fun.
Yeah, Natalie's been doing a lot of presentations out there and a lot of conferences, but I think this is her first time at the Power Platform Conference. So it's very exciting.
Yeah, yep. I think it's going to be a great conference. And I just want to say to all of the people that were part of the selection team and all of that, like a huge thank you, because I know it's hard. And also I know that there's a lot of people who, hope they get selected, and you get lots of messages and things. So yeah, I do appreciate being part of that.
Awesome. All right, Chris. Well, thanks for taking time out of your day to visit with us today, share a little bit of your story and who you are with the community. We really appreciate it.
All good. Thank you, guys. And honestly, thank you for having me. And just please keep doing what you're doing and bringing more people on. These are great shows, and I've loved watching them. So yeah, massive appreciation to all of you.
All right, everybody. Well, the time has come for us to take a look at all the amazing articles and blogs and videos and samples that you created over the past week and shared with us. You may be watching and wondering, well, I created some cool stuff. I want it to be shared too. You got it. All you got to do is tag in Twitter or LinkedIn, that little hashtag right there, Power Platform Connects, and we will scour the interwebs and take a look at it for you. So, Hugo, what do you got for us?
You're not the boss of me. Let's talk about some of the articles that we got. So the first blog post that we have is by Kat Schneider, and she is, again, she's writing a series of tips and tricks, also called TNT. This is her third tips and tricks. And it's about, in Power Apps, if you ever want to use a combo box and you want to search for a specific field, if you try to use any transformations, the search feature gets disabled, unfortunately. And it's really practically impossible to bring it back. So what Kat is doing in her example, she wants to get an uppercase value of the titles from a SharePoint list. And so what she does is she uses the with function. The great thing about that is it caches the results and it searches from those cached results, which makes it faster and gives you exactly the results you were looking for.
I feel like when we introduce her coming up, we need to be like, TNT!
TNT.
Yep.
That's right. Our next blog post is by Pranav Khurana, my buddy. He's actually, and I think this is actually happening as we're going live. It's an event called Unlock the Full Potential of Citizen Development, Power Apps, and JavaScript at the Scottish Power User Group. That's going to be on Thursday, April 27th. And what Pranav is doing is a citizen developer journey from zero to hero. It's a 30-minute presentation with Pranav and Gulshan Khurana. So please join them, and they will, I'm sure, like always, they will do an amazing job here. Hopefully, you get to watch this in time to join the session. And back to Kat Schneider. So we've got double dose this week. It's a bonus episode, our bonus blog post. So Kat, about a year ago, had a project that used SharePoint to list a map of hierarchical organization structure. And there was about 6,000 employees and positions. And she really wanted to use combo boxes with Power Apps to quickly filter kind of the specific branches used in the organization. Unfortunately, she was not very proud, let's say, of her multi-select choice field implementation. And so she was not happy. So fast forward a year later, and she saw a help request post in the Power Apps community. So kudos for doing that, Kat. But in the community forums, someone needed a similar solution, and so Kat saw the opportunity to redeem herself with now a year's worth more of experience. So she found a creative way to solve the challenge, and so one of the things that she did is she actually use two columns from the data source. One is a business process and one is a business role. And then she actually she uses a logic that if she was using Excel, what she would be doing is she would be multiplying or adding the output of several functions to a Boolean value, right? If you multiply a value of 1 or 0, when you multiply by 1, obviously it turns to 1. When you multiply by 0, it turns to 0. So by just multiplying all the Boolean values that she wants to filter by, she'll either get a 0 or 1 if all the criteria matches, or none of or any of the criteria don't match. So it's a very smart mathematical solution that's inspired by Excel, and that's exactly what she does. So she just counts how many of the selected items in the combo box are in the associated field for each list item. She counts the total of selected items in the combo box, and then she determines whether those values are equal, and then she multiplies together each Boolean output of each field. And again, if the value is equal to 1, the item is returned. If otherwise, it gets filtered. So very eloquent and very simple. And Victor Dantas, we haven't heard from Victor in at least a couple of weeks, but Victor has a MVP Summit Week fun in New York City with Eduardo Amaral and Alison Scalco. And so what they are doing is they're putting together a mentorship course titled Becoming a Citizen Developer for the Brazilian Community. I love that they're getting together and helping extend the reach of their awesomeness. So thank you, Victor, for that. And that's it for us for this week.
Thanks, everybody, for sharing the amazing content that you've been creating. Now, if any of you would like us to cover the content that you've been creating, whether it's a blog, an article, a sample, a video, you got it. We want to cover it. All you need to do is hashtag Power Platform Connects. It's like left and right. It's hard. Power Platform Connects in your social shares, and we will absolutely scour the interwebs for that. Now, Hugo, there's another way that they can get involved in the community. What is that?
Is there? Oh, yes, there is. You can actually go to aka.ms/join the community to join our Power Users community, answer questions, ask questions, help each other in general. And you don't have to be the one writing the articles, by the way. If you see an article that is useful to you and you want to promote it on Power Platform Connects, use the same hashtag that David previously mentioned when he was trying to point at the screen. That one right there.
Yep, that one. Just retweet or reply to the tweet, and we'd love to cover it. Even if you think it's better that it needs to get covered, right? So thank you. All right. If I could speak, I'd say bye-bye.
Bye. Oh, now, brown cow.
All right. We should do can we Patty King?
High five.
Hugo, you want to bring that up, or do you want me to bring
it? No, you do.
Because then after, you do it. No,
you do it.
Boop, 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 boop. Yeah. All right.
That was fun.